You're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, to begin our conversation, which is on the Global Media and Information Literacy Week of UNESCO, let's take this background up put together by our correspondent, Ekene Undulwe.
The 21st century has witnessed proliferation of information spread across the internet. Emergence of new media with limited regulations has also raised several concerns bordering on the spread of fake news and hate speeches. In recent years, lack of trust on governments and media has been linked to consistent misinformation on digital spaces. Development institutions are concerned that this trend has become a threat to democracy, social stability, and sustainable development. UNESCO recognizes that ensuring information quality is the most powerful way to build and nurture trust across all institutions. It is for this reason that the organization founded the Global Media and Information Literacy Week to educate individuals on how to recognize whether information is true or false, and also to be able to locate, evaluate, and communicate information in various formats. 24th to 31st of this month has been slated as Global Media and Information Literacy Week, and Nigeria will be hosting the rest of the international community. With the theme, Nurturing Trust, a media and information literacy imperative, the week aims to promote media and information literacy as a viable development intervention to enhance social protection and collective solidarity. On this episode of Good Morning Nigeria, guests will be speaking on issues around the commemoration of the week in Nigeria.
Many thanks, Ekene Undulwe, for that background report. We have three guests with us here in the studios to discuss issues around the Media Information Literacy Week. First, let's welcome, after a while, the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Honorable Minister, we're glad to have you again on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you, Kingsley.
Okay. Also here with us in the studios is Idowu Olagunju. Olagunju is the Secretary General of the Nigerian National Commission for UNESCO. So Olagunju, glad to have you on the program.
Thank you, Mr. Kingsley. It's a pleasure to be here today.
All right, also in the studio is Mr. Alton Grizzle. He is the Program Specialist, Communication and Information, UNESCO headquarters in Paris. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
No, thank you so much. A pleasure to be here. UNESCO is so pleased to be a part of this process.
Great.
All right, Alton, we welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria for the first time. You're on Africa's largest television network, the Nigerian Television Authority. Let's begin with the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture. Alhaji Lai, give us some additional information with regard to the essence of the Global Media and Information Literacy Week. Why the week?
Why the week? That's a good question. This is actually the 11th edition of the Global Media and Information Literacy Week. It's an event that is usually celebrated globally annually, and we always have about 193 countries all over the world participating in it. This year's edition is going to be a hybrid, on-site in Abuja and online in other parts of the world. Why? The whole idea of this Media Information and Information Literacy Week is actually to nurture trust between media and information and the people, government, and the stakeholders. And interestingly, the theme for this year's
celebration
MIL is actually nurturing trust, a media and information literacy imperative. What we do annually and what this week provides is a forum for us to see how much progress has been made in nurturing trust between media and information literacy on the one hand and all the stakeholders, because we understand and appreciate the role and importance of media and information literacy, in getting information, making it available for all. And the role is also placed in the everyday life of all of us. But we also understand the fact that there is this trust deficit. Technology, for instance, has made access to information much easier than before, but has also come with its own challenges. So the whole idea of the Media Information Literacy Week is to equip people with the ability and the skill to navigate media information literacy in a manner that you can look at, you can access information, you can know where the information is, but at the same time, be able to know exactly what is the purpose of that information, be able to know which one is actually, harmful, and how do you, counter the harmful, part of it. So this generally is what the information week is for.
All right, thank you, Honorable Minister. And, I would like to ask Idowola Abuja now. He has talked to us about what media and information literacy is actually all about. But why did UNESCO come up with this week? What's the concept, and why the celebration?
Actually, UNESCO is always promoting peace. And there is that magazine in UNESCO that's because war comes from the minds of men, so peace should be built from the same mind. Based on that, whatever will promote peace, especially if you watch, especially when there was a COVID-19 outbreak, you could see that there were lots of misinformation and disinformation. And now UNESCO began to look at avenues of also doing much more in the area of information literacy, so that those who access information will be able to discern which one is fake and which one is good. So it's an attempt to equip those who are even receiving this information, so empower them in such a way that they will be able to discern which one they should take and which one, not just clicking anything, because what you click can bring trouble. So it's a way of equipping and also making those who are giving the information out to know that what they are giving out is so sensitive. So that is why the record is really positive.
All right, thank you, Olagunju. Aton Grizzle, let's also get some additional background information as to the essence of the media. What is the correct rendition in the first instance? Is it media and information literacy or media information literacy?
You've asked a very good question, but I think the Honorable Minister has become an expert of media and information literacy. And he has said it correctly. It's media and information literacy. It is what we call an umbrella term, all right, that encompasses an integrated set of information, media, and digital competencies, all right? So it's a recognition that there is a convergence in the type of competencies that we need. But just to add some additional background to what the Honorable Minister said and the Secretary General said, we as a people, as individuals, we are concerned about the water we drink, that the water should be clean. We are concerned about the air that we breathe. No one wants to breathe, air that is polluted. We're concerned that the food that we're eating is healthy, because if it's not, it's going to hurt us. But why is it that we're not concerned about the information that we consume? And this is the foundation and the drive behind Global Media and Information Literacy Week that has been said before by the two other guests. You know, we want people around the world and here in Nigeria to understand that their mind, their perception, the way they think, the way they see things, and sometimes the way they act is influenced by the information that they consume. And so because of that, they need some competencies. They need some new competencies. And these are the competencies that the Honorable Minister spoke about. Who produced the information that I'm consuming? Where do I find the information that I need? All right. How do I critically analyze that information? And then how do I apply that information to my life, my daily life, my personal life? When I wake up in the morning, as an individual, wherever you are, good morning in Nigeria, you start thinking, is it going to rain? And if it's going to rain, I'm going to need an umbrella. You know, you are preparing yourself. In the same way, you should prepare yourself. What information, what are my information needs? And how do I verify the source of this information? It's a recognition that we're living in a virtual world. All right. We have a physical world merging with a virtual world. And sometimes in the physical world, we respect certain rules. And we know there's stoplights. It has some significance. You know, it will be chaos if we don't respect the stoplights. In the same way, we go on the internet and we do not realize that there are rules that we should respect. There are some things that we should do and not do on the internet. And we have to learn these things. We have to acquire this knowledge. And it doesn't mean that, you know, once you go to school and you become educated, you know, you learn how to read, write, and to compute, that you're media and information literate. No. You know, we need an expanded definition of what education is, what literacy is. And that expanded definition recognize that it's not only about reading, writing, and arithmetic, but it's about analyzing images. You know, it's about differentiating between facts and opinion. It's about how do I protect my privacy and do I understand my rights online? So we talk about to our governments in any country, in Nigeria, and we said we have rights in our country. Now, when you're on the internet, you forget also that you have some rights. And these rights are being taken away. Sometimes you just give up these rights because you do not understand that the virtual world and the physical world is merging. And this is why media and information literacy is very, very urgent for all of us, for all people. And as the Honorable Minister noted, we are pushing for media and information literacy for all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alton. You talked about rules, you talked about rights, and all that. That brings me to my next question, Honorable Minister. Of course, when you talk about media and information literacy, you talk about freedom of expression and, the right to information and all of that. I want to ask this particular question because as regards press freedom, as we're talking about media literacy and information, will this, this sensitization or whatever it is that this event will bring, would it have any effect on press freedom in Nigeria? Because, the latest ranking by Reporters Without Borders says Nigeria has dropped to 129. We seem to be coming down. So does this have any role to play as regards press freedom? Would it promote it or would it limit it?
You see, let's start from the ranking of Nigeria by Reporters Without Borders. This is precisely one of the things we are trying to achieve by the media and information literacy, which is when we get an information, analyze it, digest it. Where is it coming from? Who is the author? What is the purpose? Why was it produced? What objective is it supposed to achieve? So please don't swallow whatever information you are giving, no matter by which organization in the world. Having said that, if anything media and information literacy promotes press freedom in an extremely responsible manner, in a manner that makes you realize that in a pluralistic society, which the world is today, openness, independence, and respect for all stakeholders, be it government, be it individuals, be it people who don't share your religious views or your political views. This is actually the whole idea of media and information literacy, to equip people with the competence to understand. Like Alton has said, just like there are rules and regulations that guide physical life, such rules and regulations should also guide virtual life. Now, you do not get on the internet and forget that other people also have obligations. You go online and you develop a message which is so poisonous that it can cause a war. So poisonous that it can cause, interracial, conflict. And it's very interesting because I remember it was in Nigeria, in Abuja here, in 2013, that the first global, forum for partnership on meal actually started. And this was the venue that gave birth to what we have today as the medium and information literacy, a program. Now, please, wherever there are rights, there are also obligations. And the media information literacy is actually to equip even that journalist to critically analyze the source of his own information. So it has absolutely nothing to do with press freedom, but it has a lot to do with responsible journalism.
Honorable Minister, thank you. I'll come back to aspects of what you have explained and later, but I want to return to Alton. Since, of course, you are from the UNESCO headquarters, you probably get the vibes, and then Olagunju will also weigh in on this. Is this meal, as to borrow the acronym that the Honorable Minister said, that's to say media and information literacy, is this the next big agenda of UNESCO after the troubled New World Information and Communication Order? I'm asking this question so as to say, because earlier you said media and information literacy is for all. Mm-hmm. Is this a program that UNESCO is driving and the rest of the world is behind UNESCO on this?
So let me just say that I think I want to start with the point that was made by the Secretary General earlier on the origins of UNESCO, how UNESCO was found. And the Honorable Minister also spoke about that, the issue that, sometimes we say things and we don't realize that what we say, the information we create and what we share, has consequences. It can create conflicts. It can create discrimination against others. And so, as the Secretary General pointed out earlier, that UNESCO was founded in 1945 on the famous maxim that if wars begin in the minds of men, it's in the minds of men that the bastion of peace should be constructed. And I'm getting to the question that you ask, because this maxim was famously echoed some 70 years ago. The world was completely different then, all right? We didn't have the internet 70 years ago. We didn't have this new information ecology that we have today. So much has changed. The world is more connected. People are more integrated. People have the opportunity to learn more about themselves and to learn more about the world, about them, about other cultures, and to appreciate other cultures. So what UNESCO recognizes in our program is that considering this maxim and the changed world that we're now living in, we could actually translate that maxim to say that if the use, misuse, or underuse of information, media, and technology begins in the minds of people, then we have to correct it in the minds of people. Because there is use, misuse, and underuse. That happens in the mind of people. All right. We can also say that if the understanding, lack of understanding, or misunderstanding of information, media, and digital technology begins in the minds of people, then this is where we should try to correct it. And this is why UNESCO is working with our partners around the world, with our member states, with Nigeria, as the Honorable Minister noted, that in 2013, some 9 years ago, if my maths is working well early in the morning, we organized the first global forum for partnerships on media and information literacy hosted by Nigeria. And through that forum, as the minister pointed out, we established what is called the Global Alliance for Media and Information Literacy. The name has been changed. It was the Global Alliance for Partnerships on Media and Information Literacy. The name is now simply the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Alliance. But that was born right here in Nigeria. This network is a network of networks with organizations from all over the world, about 120 countries, media networks. So we want NTA to become a member of the alliance. We're making a call to you. We have the African Union. The African Union of Broadcasters is a member of the alliance. The Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, the European Broadcasting Union is a member of the alliance. We have different networks, universities, civil society organizations, government entities. It's a real eclectic, multi-stakeholder group, as the Honorable Minister pointed out, in this alliance. And so, yes, media and information literacy is a flagship initiative of UNESCO, but not only UNESCO, but our member states. Our 193 member states. Just recently, in 2019, our member states at the General Conference adopted a resolution recognizing Global Media and Information Literacy Week as an official week. Now, the Honorable Minister pointed out that this is the 11th edition. So for 11 years, we have been promoting this topic. And in fact, it goes much farther. If you talk to the grandparents and the fathers of media and information literacy, they will tell you 40 years of work calling on policymakers around the world to prioritize media and information literacy as an urgent development intervention. And it's happening now. And again, before I end, in 2021, the United Nations General Assembly, so we started in UNESCO, United Nations General Assembly, all right, also adopted a resolution, A75-267 resolution, affirming the urgency of media and information literacy for all. Over 200 countries unanimously adopted this resolution, and they're calling on member states, countries around the world, including Nigeria, to develop national media and information literacy policies and strategies to integrate media and information literacy in the formal education and non-formal education. We need programs on networks like NTA as well, not just in the classrooms.
All right, thanks a lot, Alton. But there's one aspect of the question that I asked that has not been addressed. I will you go back to that question with a background, and that's coming to Olagunjo. And the reason I asked it is as follows. I said, look, is MIL, that is the Media and Information Literacy, the next big agenda for UNESCO? UNESCO being United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Is this the next big agenda after the New World Information and Communication Order? Because in the 1980s, there was a great deal of debate. Amadou Mata Mbo then was Director General of UNESCO, and a number of the advanced countries, Britain, for instance, and the United States, withdrew their subscriptions to UNESCO because they felt that the whole idea of the New World Information and Communication Order was to manipulate the flow of information, because there were concerns about news flow patterns from the north to the south, and of course horizontally, and while less developed countries were at the mercy of information and misinformation being generated by the more advanced countries. And of course, at the end of the day, WICO didn't quite succeed. That's why I said, is everyone on board with regard to media and information literacy? I believe that it should be in the interest of all to be on board, because even the advanced countries, including the US, do suffer the consequences of fake news and hate speech. Alagunju.
As the Honorable Minister just said, let me just start from that point. The effects of fake news affects all. And that is why everybody is involved in media and information literacy. And it came more to the fore during the COVID-19 pandemics. You will see so many, maybe because people were idle, so many things were happening all around, so many news were flying all around the place that people will not even verify before they click and begin to send. And it will be erupting problems here and there. So it is for all. Everybody will be involved because as it is, the whole world is one. The whole world is one because before you know it now, within 1 minute, something that somebody carelessly sends to the social media, for example, can just cause problem. So it is as good as everybody now has seen that this is a problem that must be solved. So nobody takes it with levity. So UNESCO has now seen this opportunity as, because the world is evolving, programs also should be evolving. They should be according to what is happening all around. So UNESCO is so serious about it. If 193 nations of the world are so serious about this, then it means the whole world can be affected positively for it.
All right, affecting the whole world positively. The terms you've been using so far, gentlemen, I've been hearing click, online, digital, and all of that. And we know that media and information literacy includes all types of information sources, and that's oral, print, and digital. And if you want to look at Nigeria, want to focus on Nigeria, we know that not everybody has access, to the online media. So as we celebrate this week, and first and foremost, you tell us why Nigeria is actually hosting this year's event, and then is the focus really going to be online? What about other forms of transmission of information? Because we know not everybody in Nigeria has access to the online media.
Thank you very much. Why Nigeria? I think Nigeria is hosting this. I think UNESCO gave us the right to host it in recognition of our contribution to the media and information literacy, activity project, globally and especially in Nigeria. As I said, it was in 2013 that the very first seed was sown here in Nigeria. So I think this is one of the reasons why we are hosting it. Two, I think if you go by the figures, Nigeria probably ranks highest in the number of internet users, especially in Africa, and not only in number but in terms of competency, in terms of resourcefulness. And you recall that this issue of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation has become a cankerworm, not just in Nigeria, but in the entire world. And you recall that in 2017, the Minister of Information and Culture, Nigeria, we launched a national campaign against fake news and hate speech, because we realized, even without UNESCO's prodding, that our country, our nation, our unity was being destroyed by fake news. But unfortunately, when we started this campaign, we were not taken too seriously. I remember we came here, we went everywhere. Some media houses cooperated with us, but others did not see the danger. But I can tell you today, like just we said in 2017, that the next world war will be caused by fake news. And you can see what is happening today all over the world. Now, is it about online? No. Fake news is in many forms, and that is why the entire sole objective of the media and information literacy is to equip everybody with the competence and ability to analyze news, whether it is from the radio, television, online, or even in graphics. What exactly, it's like you must be able to decode every information. And believe me, today, when many of us read a particular information, we say, where is it coming from? Who is it meant to? What is supposed to achieve? And unless you develop that competency and you make it available for all, governance will become impossible. Like you have all made allusion, during COVID-19, there wasn't anything that was not said about COVID-19. And amazingly, even in the so-called developed countries, they said it was a mirage, it was not true, it was a myth. So when you talk about, fake news, it has everything to do with every form of information. And interestingly, just to come back to the question you posed, whether media and information literacy is the next big agenda for UNESCO. I think it's not just the big next agenda for UNESCO, it's the next big agenda for the whole world. And I want to say this. Even the developed countries are taking media and information literacy more seriously than we are taking it. If you look at the hefty fines that have been levied on Google, on Microsoft, on all kind of companies for misuse of digital information, because don't look at it only from the political viewpoint. Look at it from the moral. Look at it from the exposure of very insane quotes, obscenities to our youth, our younger ones. Look at how this mismanagement of information has led to higher number of suicide among your younger people. You will now begin to understand and see how important media and information literacy is. We need it to navigate the present world. You are today bombarded, unsolicited, by news. Just people will add you to their WhatsApp group without you asking them to do so, and they will send you new information. As well, they target you
until you exit.
So they exit,
and then they bring you back.
So what? Honestly, media and information literacy is important for all, no matter your state, because it's like, how does my uncle in my village actually translate and understand the message? Look, so one day somebody will just say, Lai Mohammed stole, $1 million. I tell you a story. One day my wife woke me up in the middle of the night and said, Daddy, where are you keeping all this money? I said, which money? Said, this is what they said you have in an account in the US. I said, Mommy, listen. How much is the budget of the Ministry of Information and Culture? Now, let's even assume that every year I pocket everything. It's not even 1/20th of what they are saying I've stolen. But you can imagine when otherwise, respectable, networks or organizations, push out this news. But the thing to understand about mail is that today there are no longer any gatekeepers, especially in the new media. And this is what we're trying to ensure that does not, destroy the world. I mean, I don't think UNESCO needs to convince anybody about the seriousness of the media and information literacy.
In fact, from what you have said, not just destroy the world, maybe we should say marriages too, because if mommy is not understanding,
Precisely. Especially when you have a long shopping list Especially when mommy has a long shopping list.
Exactly.
You don't want to respond to that. When there's a long shopping
You
list,
know,
every time I keep saying this thing, say there's no money, there's no money. Precisely. There's no money, there's no money. I mean, and then look at the information I just got.
Real social impact.
Precisely.
Affecting lives, families, interaction. It's real. It's real.
This is an aspect I would like the Honourable Minister to also tell us about. What should participants and others, who might be interested in the week, what should they look out for? What are the activities that the week will present? That's the Literacy Week.
Yes, I think this Literacy Week, we have first what we call a global, international, and intercultural, conference, and also a youth agenda forum. And I'm glad to say that one of the events that will be celebrated here is the hackathon, the hackathon for the youth. The hackathon is actually social coding, and it's like it gives us a forum to discuss how you can build messages, how you can also respond to messages. And like I said, just as we are on site in Nigeria physically, having this meeting, in about 192 other countries in the world, is also being held. And even at the meeting in Nigeria, like I said, it's going to be a hybrid of both on-site and online. And we expect to be joined by the United Nations top executive, including the UNESCO Secretary General. It will be online. And the Assistant UNESCO Secretary General will be here, also in Abuja. We expect top, academia, personnel to be with us. We're expecting ministers from other parts of the world. We're actually expecting some heads of government from both Africa and the world to be at this conference. Of course, other participants will include NGOs, it will include regulators, it will include broadcasters, it's going to include researchers, it's going to include the youths also. So, because this is, like we said, is media and information literacy for all. And there's nobody that is left out. And it's like a platform, one to celebrate what progress we've made over the years in countering fake news, and you see, unless you counter fake news, development will become a bit difficult. So it's a big celebration, it's a big forum, and we're expecting the cooperation and collaboration of everybody. But what I want to say is that, please, media and information literacy should not just be restricted to the UNESCO's week. We should continue to reach media and information literacy, whether it's competency. There must be that ability and competence on the part of everybody who consumes news or information. Like Mr. Atton said, we care about what we eat. We care about what we drink. Why don't we care about what we consume? And I think we consume information more than we eat, because every second your phone, you receive messages on your phone every second, on your laptop every second. How are you prepared to analyze them? Are you prepared to understand them? Because there's some information, when they come from certain sources, I just ignore it. I know they are there just to annoy you. They are there just to, demarket your country. They are there to demarket your government. So you need to be competent. How do I know that this news is fake? And more important, how do I counter it?
Thank you. Mr. Olaguju, I'm a woman, and of course, as Kingsley already mentioned, we look out for benefits, gains, and that's our focus in any matter. Now that Nigeria is hosting this particular edition, what does Nigeria stand to gain?
Oh, well, as the Honorable Minister has said, you will agree with me that Nigeria is the 58th country among the UNESCO member states. We joined immediately after the independence, and we have 193 countries in UNESCO, apart from other ones who are in the island. And Nigeria has been very, very responsible in everything. UNESCO will never joke with Nigeria because this is the largest country that has the largest population in Africa. And anytime Nigeria speaks, UNESCO will want to hear. So, and that informs bringing this very program to Nigeria this very time. And you also agree that we have a very large number of youths, and these are the people that really access information faster than every other group. So Nigeria will need this very program so much so that people can be responsible in the way they access information, those who are giving and those who are assessing, those who are receiving. So at the end, because there are so many programs involved in this very program that are being slated out, we have so many speakers that will come from across the world to share their experiences. There are so many issues that will be debated, and everybody will have his own view heard. And at the end of the day, there will be some resolutions that will be made that will be good for Nigeria at the end. And I will also let you know that there are university networks are coming for this program. Youths are very much involved in this program. And UNESCO is promoting inclusion. Women will also be very much involved. In fact, I'm anchoring one of the sessions that I have women that I will be moderating, and they will be speaking. So, and Africa, there are people who will be speaking from the focus of Africa, which Nigeria is very, very important in. So I think at the end of it all, Nigeria will have so much to gain in this very.
All right. Thank you very much, Ido Olagunju. Alton Grizzle, once again, let's get back to the basics of media and information literacy. It's media and information literacy a matter of intense public enlightenment or a matter of legislation? And if it is a matter of intense public enlightenment, what then will be the conditions precedent to the target audience? Because we're talking about literacy. When we were toddlers, the first things you needed to learn were the alphabets. And then the numbers. For numeracy, say 1, 2, 3, you count to 100, then you grow to 200. And for the alphabets, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, then you take it to Z. And if you wanted to be naughty, you say, okay, take it from Z to A. So tell us, as I said, is it a matter of intense public enlightenment, a matter of legislation? If it's a matter of intense public enlightenment, what are the conditions precedent for the enlightenment to actually take hold?
No, thank you so much for that question. It's an important one. It's an important one, and I want to start with in responding to that by speaking to perhaps two of the questions that were asked earlier. Is media and information literacy only about technology? Because we have been talking a lot about technology. It's a very, very important question. The statistics is saying to us that close to 60% of the world population are now online. All right. Of course, that's a global figure. If you were to apply that to certain countries and regions, then probably to be 80% offline. So that's a global figure. The statistics are also telling us that close to over 70% of the youth worldwide are online. All right. The statistics are also telling us that close to 131 countries have enacted access to information laws. All right. This is a rapid growth in the past 10 years. Previously, we had probably a handful of countries with access to information laws, which was started some 200 years ago in Sweden, and then after that in UK. So there's a lot of change happening, but media and information literacy is definitely not only about technology, And we want to speak to Nigerians who are listening, and persons all over the globe who will perhaps watch this program online. Media and information literacy is equally for those who do not have access to technology, because it enables them, that enlightenment, to start thinking, why don't I have access to information? Why don't I have access to clean water? Who's supposed to be correcting this? Where do I go? How can I organize myself and ourselves as a community? It gets them to start thinking. It's about persons who are living in rural and remote communities that depend only on radio and television for their access to information. All right, they too need media and information literacy competencies, because the messages that they receive through these different types of media can also be stereotypical. You're a woman. All right. And we haven't talked about stereotypes that affect people's life. Enlightenment. We're enlightened when we recognize that the information that we receive are often biased information. Bias in terms of gender equality, bias in terms of race, bias in terms of person's culture and religious belief. All right. So we become enlightened, even if we're offline, when we realize that, wait a minute, this message that I just received, there's something not right about it. There's something in it that I need to analyze, I need to unpack, I need to deconstruct. And then I'm going now to tell myself, no, I do not accept this. I do not accept this message that women cannot lead, or the place of woman is only in the house. These are the type of stereotypes and discrimination that media and information literacy is also about. It's a concept that is connected to many other social literacies. All right. So whether it's cultural literacy, whether it's health literacy, we start talking about health issues earlier. When we go to the supermarket and the store and we buy food, how many of us stop to check the information that is branded on that bottle? It's there for a reason. It's regulated for a reason. No, you need to look at it and understand what it means. How many of you listening to Good Morning understand that when you look at the ingredients, the one that is first means that is the largest content in that product? Many people do not understand this. This is also media and information literacy. And so it is really a broad concept. Yes, we need regulations, we need national policies and strategies on media and information literacy. This is what the resolution of the United Nations calls for. The enabling environment. That enabling environment, if we are going to ensure that all people around the world are enlightened, that all people around the world recognize that whomever you are and wherever you are, you create information and you share information, whether you're online or not. All right. If we're going to get people to recognize and understand that they have more control over their information environment than they're told. We're told that media are so powerful. You talk about New Week. At that time we talk about the epidemic needle, the magic bullet. Media is all powerful. Now we have an internet that is supposed to be how do you say, powerful to the order of 1 million than the media. All right. But then what we're trying to do is to equip people through media and information literacy to realize that your brain the simplest process in your brain is more powerful than all the technology put together. This is what we're trying to get people to understand, that they're enlightened. We have power. We can control what information come to us, how we respond to it, but we need some competencies, how to use the tools, how to use these tools. So what do we need in an enabling environment? We need national policies on media and information literacy, meaning that media and information literacy should be a part of the formal education system. It's not a choice between basic literacy that you describe, reading, writing, and arithmetic, all right, and media and information literacy. It's not a choice. Media and information literacy is literacy. It's a part of an expanded definition of literacy. So we need those policies. But it's not just in the schools that we need policies. We need media organizations, okay, to develop internal editorial policies and programs to see private and public media alike, to see media and information literacy as a part of their business model, to enlighten their audiences. And when you enlighten your audience, they too can defend your freedom and independence and plurality. All right? We need regulations because the challenge that we're facing today, as you talk about New WICO, the world has changed. It's not one-to-many broadcasting. It's many-to-many. The Honorable Minister said it earlier. The gatekeepers, the editorial process have been removed. And the consumers are also producing we call about prosumers information. This is why media and information literacy is urgent. UNESCO is pushing, and we're saying the most sustainable way to address the new information, media and communication and digital ecology is to empower people with media and information literacy competencies. Then they need to hold also the big technology companies accountable. We haven't spoken a lot about algorithms and artificial intelligence that are evolving so rapidly. And what the research is saying to us is that we talk about privacy. Research is now saying that the last bastion of our privacy, which is our private thought, what is in our mind, it's being hacked. It's being hacked by algorithms and AI systems who are assessing everything that we do on the internet, assessing how we move in the cities and where we go and what we shop. And that information is being used to manipulate you and to move you in a direction that you don't know that you're going into. And so you need to be enlightened. You need to be calling on your governments and to pushing for regulation of the internet. And that's one of the work that UNESCO is going to be doing. We're launching a big conference in February next week, and we're calling it Internet for Democracy. How do we regulate the internet while still respecting and protecting freedom of expression and human rights?
All right. Alton, thank you very much. Again, Honorable Minister and gentlemen, it's obvious that this is the big agenda for humanity. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we continue with the conversation. All right, you're welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I was going to ask the Honorable Minister, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, whether President Muhammadu Buhari will be part of the Media and Information Literacy Week. I'm asking this for a purpose. We all appear now to have forgotten what happened and played out 4 years ago, when our President, Muhammadu Buhari, was being described as a body double of a certain Jubril from Sudan. I'm sure you remember that. It says Sudan. And there were all kinds of photoshopped images. You know, his mouth, his lips, his ears, everything was distorted to say, this is not the real man who is in Aso Rock. The allegation was that he had passed on or buried in Saudi Arabia, and that this is a body double from Sudan. So that's why I was asking whether he will be a part of the Media Literacy Week to cite that as an example of what people did. Because if you were speaking at that time to otherwise enlightened Nigerians, would say, what do you mean? Look at the photograph. So anyway, that's why I was going to ask that question. If it's going to be part of it, that's fine. But Honorable Minister, you are itching to respond to that.
I want to say that when I wrote Mr. President sometimes in June, July, to declare open the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Week, and that the theme is nurturing trust. The President gladly agreed to declare it open because it shows you how seriously he also takes the issue of fake news, misinformation, disinformation. And I want to say that unless there is any other pressing state matter, Mr. President will declare it open. And if he has other pressing state that he is not in the country, I can assure you that he will be represented by either the Vice President or the Secretary of Government. So I want to assure you that Mr. President has also been a victim
Of fake news.
of fake news, disinformation, and misinformation. So to that extent, yes.
Staying with you, the Honorable Minister,
Yes.
Now that we've mentioned the President, of course, as far as we're concerned as a nation, at the moment, the defining moment will be the 2023 general elections. Yes, and it's a good thing that Nigeria is hosting the Media and Information Literacy Week this year. Of course, electioneering have begun and all of that. How did you factor, the elections and then, the process before the election itself and after into your planning of this Media and Information Literacy Week? And how do you think it would affect the whole process?
Well, you see, the war against misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, like I said, started a long time ago with us here in Nigeria. And that's why I took you back to 2017, when we devoted an entire National Council on Information meeting to discuss the issue of fake news, disinformation, hate speech. And that meeting took place in Jos Plateau State, because we saw very early on the danger of misinformation, disinformation, especially in a pluralistic, country like Nigeria. And every day we live, we breathe, and we see the danger of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech. So for us in the Ministry of Information and Culture, and as a country, it's a continuous battle. Unfortunately, like we said, while technology has actually, improved access to information, it has also come with its own challenges. And this is the whole idea of the media and information literacy, to equip the average person with the competence, skill, and ability to, sift information and say which one is harmful, which one should be believed or not. And honestly, the way I see this, I see the media information literacy, its competency, it's like when we go back to about 60, 70 years ago, when the adult education, adult literacy was introduced. It was introduced to equip people also with the skill and the competence to know what was going on around them. And one of the major advantages of media and information technology is that it also enables the individual citizen to hold government to account. You see, you can't hold government to account if you don't have the skill to even understand what is propaganda, what is real news, or what is disinformation or misinformation. So when people look at the media and information literacy, it is about a life-changing project that will continue, because every year and every day misinformation, disinformation would increase. It's not as if fake news or misinformation is new. No. It's been on for a very long time. It's as long as as probably humanity. But then it was a smaller world. There were gatekeepers. But today, like I said, there are no gatekeepers. And before, you couldn't reach me from Indonesia. Even in those days, if you want to talk to your son in London, in Nigeria, you have to go and queue up at Nitel, or what it should be Nitel or Net. You queue up, for hours before it is your turn to dial. Today,
and they will ask you to go to a cubicle.
Cubicle, yes. But today, with your phone, you can chat with your son in Moscow. You can chat with your daughter in Poland. So that is why this media and literacy is important. We need to equip people. We need to save them from themselves. We need to save them from you see, today, it's about business. Misinformation, it's about business. I've seen many online, especially online, sources deliberately, disseminate fake news. When they are countered, they don't come back to apologize because they want to continue to sustain traffic to their sites. And this is the way, that's why it's important for us to reach the minds of the people, to say, not everything that is there in form of water is pure.
Great. All right. Olagunju, why should anyone who's interested in the 2023 general elections take any further interest in media and information literacy as the week unfolds?
Well, as we have said from the beginning, this program is for all. And even those who are vying for one position or the other, because they will be campaigning and they will be making some promises, they should also know that people will hold them accountable at the end of the day. So they are expected to also give information that will be verifiable or that will not roll back at the end. So this program is for all, as we have said. So politicians also need this very program. They need to be there. Those who are the electorate, they also need to be there, because everyone, one way or the other, was knowing what your rights should be and how you will not use your right to hinder the rights of others.
All right. Very quickly, Alton, before we call it time on the conversation segment, the issue arose earlier. Now, what is the difference, for the benefit of our viewers, or similarity between the World Press Freedom Day, which is usually in May, and then the Media and Literacy Week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so press freedom, UNESCO, as a part of our constitution, as you know, we exist to promote the free flow of words, ideas, opinions, and expression. And so promoting freedom of expression and freedom of the press is one priority, one of the priorities of UNESCO globally, and that freedom, lends to all other human rights and freedom, where there's freedom to quality education. Right to quality education is right to peace and security, right to access to information. Media and information literacy is connected to freedom of expression because it enables persons to understand the importance of being able to express themselves freely, to think freely, all right? It's connected to access to information. We also have the Universal Access to Information Day, so it's connected to the Access to Information Day as well. But for World Press Freedom Day, there's a focus sometimes on the institutional aspect and pushing for press freedom and pushing for laws, laws in the country that promote freedom of expression. Global Media and Information Literacy Week connects to that, but it also tries to bring people at the center of that process. We try to give people agency, and for them to understand the power that they have in the process of promoting freedom. I think we have spoken a lot today about the challenges around the information and digital ecology, and we have not spoken a lot more about the opportunities for lifelong learning, the opportunities to learn about other cultures, the opportunities to help others, to develop empathy, towards people in other parts of the world. There's so much that the technology is contributing to peace and contributing to human solidarity. So there's a wave of opportunities in the new information and digital landscape that we need to address as well. And media and information literacy lends to all of that. It's about how in Nigeria, if I'm in a country where there is freedom, how can I, with this freedom that I have, help others to advocate for their freedom elsewhere in the world? So there are many opportunities there that we should drive home as we promote media and information literacy. For UNESCO, the point is that we should keep in mind that this expression that was made by John Stark, that is not the mountain that we conquer, but ourselves. It's not the mountain of information that we conquer. It is ourselves. It's not the technology and the problems with the technology. It's ourselves and how we equip ourselves to use that technology wisely. The minister talked about the technology is mobile phone. The mobile phone, we use 1% of the functionalities on the mobile phone. It's a digital library. It's everything. You can use this for so many different things. If you want to find the right boyfriend or girlfriend listening, the technology can help you. You can learn how to do that properly.
Well, that's why
become media and information literate.
That Honorable Minister, I know that my colleague would probably the last question. That's why sometimes when we have conversations around infrastructure in our tertiary institutions, and there are complaints about so-called outdated libraries in some tertiary institutions. My first and last response, always, excuse me, is to say, if you are a student and you have a smartphone, then that cannot be an excuse.
Exactly.
It's turned out also that we had Professor Yakubu Ochefo, who is the General Secretary of the Committee of Vice Chancellors and formerly also of Pro-Chancellors. There are some factors now that are used to categorize indigent students, regular students, and affluent students in tertiary institutions. That it is now taken for normal that a student should have access to a smartphone. The cost is immaterial. And once you have access to a smartphone and you can buy your data, you have the entire world at your fingertips. For research purposes.
Exactly. We need to empower people.
Research purposes. I mean, you want to anything you want to go to, but of course, it also takes some level of literacy for you to filter and say, no, this is more suitable for me, more suitable for me. Why am I campaigning for media literacy? But that's NTA is already doing its work.
Oh, well, I agree with you, Kingsley. Really, that every student should have a smartphone. But if you look at present day realities in Nigeria, sometimes even when you have the smartphone, getting the data is also another issue. And I think that should be a topic for another.
Data for other things.
Well. Okay, so that brings me to my last question. Listening to representatives from UNESCO speak, of course, it's clear that Nigeria's rating in terms of media and information literacy is quite high. What more, really, do you think is expected of Nigeria, as regards enhancing media and information literacy? And of course, we know that the week runs from 24th to 31st. That's next week, right? So, yeah. So what more do we really need, to advance this cause?
I think, like Anton said, we also need the collaboration and participation of all networks. I think it should also help us. Like I said, we should not just be talking about media and literacy once a year. We should be talking about it every day. And just like I started a national campaign on hate speech, misinformation, and you signed in as a network, I think we should also move from there, and we should also, organize regular talks and regular conversation around this topic. It's too important. Look, you see, like I said, it's not about politics. It's about even our kids, about our children. It's about our lives. It's about national unity. We've all seen what fake news, misinformation, disinformation, hate speech has done to weaken the fabrics of our country, of our unity. So it's a serious issue. Getting people to acquire that competence. It's just like asking people now, not that now you know how to read and write, but what are you reading and what are you writing? Are you reading harmful things? Can you discern that they're harmful? If they're harmful, why are you spreading it? Because most people today will get an information without even thinking, just forward it. The moment you forward a particular information, it means you have endorsed it. And when an information comes from somebody like, Anton, and you look, Anton or Mr. Olagunju, Secretary General of UNESCO in Nigeria, that must be true. So we must really think twice before we forward any information. On the contrary, with media and information literacy competency, we're able to analyze and also counter such information. So for us in Nigeria, I think the task is for all of us, not just for government. We have set the ball rolling by our national campaign. We set our ball rolling by our advocacy, visit. And I must say that you have helped us a lot in NTA. But you remember one of the very first campaign that we evolved, or was during when the insurgency became a terrible issue. We said, if you see something, say something, and it's gone a long way to really help people to maintain security. So it's a national assignment, not just for NTA, not just for Ministry of Information and Culture, but media and information literacy is a must for all.
For humanity. On that note, we'd like to thank all our three guests who've been with us this morning discussing media and information literacy. Of course, the week is taking place in Nigeria from the 24th to the 31st of October. Let's appreciate Idowu Olagunju, who is the Secretary General of the Nigerian National Commission for UNESCO. Mr. Olagunju, we'll be glad having you with us in the studios. Alton Grizzle, Program Specialist, Communication and Information at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you both. UNESCO is delighted to have been a part of this, very enlightening discussion.
Thank you very much. From Africa's largest television network, the Nigerian Television Authority. And last but not the least, we'd like to appreciate Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Honorable Minister for Information and Culture. All right, best of luck at the Literacy Week. So that's it for us today on Good Morning Nigeria, and indeed for the week. We are back on Monday, same time, 7 o'clock in the morning. Until then, look after yourselves and have a lovely weekend. I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
And I am Ian Ray John. Do have a great weekend.